Central PA is a very busy area where you can work from home. You can also get into an airport pretty quickly. You can get to Baltimore, you can get to Dallas, you can get to Philly. We're only 3 hours from New York City. We have friends that the husband works in New York City, goes there once in a while, takes the train. We'll go in there once a week, once a month. It's doable. And then the rest of the time you can work from home. Work the crazy city hours in your
Yeah.
basement, in your office.
All right, everyone. Hello, and welcome to the North Fork Experience, the podcast where we explore the journeys of exceptional individuals and businesses shaping our communities and industries. I'm your host, Kirk Hays, and today we have a truly inspiring guest whose story spans continents, careers, and a deep-seated passion for helping people. From the charming streets of Dijon, France, to the serene farm life of Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, he brings a unique perspective to real estate. Please welcome Emmanuel Huli.
Hey guys.
Emmanuel, it's fantastic to have you. Let's dive right into your North Fork experience here. You've had quite a journey from being born and raised in Dijon, France, and now living the farm life outside of Mechanicsburg. What initially brought you to the Mechanicsburg area in 2014, and how has that transition from France to rural Pennsylvania shaped your perspective on life and community?
I don't know how much time you have, but I'll try to be swift around it about it. So, like, yes, I've had I feel like I've had like a couple of lifetimes in one. But I grew up in France, a beautiful, old town of Dijon. If you know the mustard, that's the same town.
Uh-huh.
And so along my adventures, and I had a couple of, so I studied social work, and so I was doing some music. I fell into the music industry a little bit in Paris, living in Paris, France. That's why when I moved outside Dijon, and that's where I met my now spouse, my wife, and we have three little beautiful little girls. So we met in Paris, and so it was a question trying to like reassemble how did I get here? Yeah, so we met in Paris. Against all odds, decided to stay together. And so once I visited her here in the States, we decided that our life was meant to be together. Uh, so I don't know, I don't think I ever really wanted to do real estate, and real estate just kind of happened to me a little bit along the years. Being a social work, kind of like I kind of left out in France a little bit. It was hard to kind of transpose like either the credits or the knowledge, or even like because it's based on social culture and everything. So it was hard for me to transfer that here. And but I brought the guitars and brought the music, and I wanted to establish a little bit in the music industry here. And then I think the hardest time for a lot of people was COVID. So the way it got timed, the way I kind of like, you know, my journey through it was that around COVID, my music attempt or business at doing any music was kind of like at that point I hang the guitars and I was like, yeah. And I was also a stay-at-home dad, so I was doing music, raising the girls, taking care of the farm, and my wife was traveling a lot.
Uh-huh.
And then when COVID happened, she kind of got cooped up because she stopped traveling internationally or nationally. And I got my license just at that time, and I was
Uh-huh.
like, let's go. I actually got my license a few weeks before COVID started. I was
Wow.
licensed. I had my license with Turnkey Realty Group, where I'm still today, and I was full of hopes and dreams. Still are, but it's changed slightly. But and then COVID happened, and all the kids came back from school, and they were like homeschooled, and I was like, "What do I do?"
Uh-huh.
I didn't know anybody. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what real estate. And everybody's like, "Yeah, call your spheres, call your people, call your friends." And I'm like, I can't even show homes. Like
Uh-huh.
people are buying like sight unseen. So it was kind of a bloop there. It was like a little bit of a crazy moment. And real estate reopens. And then all the bigger agents were listing more and more. It was really hard to get listings anymore. You were just kind of like, if you were younger, you didn't have a roster of client, you were going to be a buyer's agent or a showing agent. And then that's kind of why I embraced it.
Uh-huh.
I leaned into it and I was like, you know what? I didn't really have anything else. It wasn't a dire situation since my wife was traveling and doing well for herself and for us and for our family. So we were well, we're still doing well. But real estate wasn't like the last hope
Yeah.
or the what was going to be the main thing that was going to pay the bills. And so I leaned into that. Okay, I can only show, so I'll get paid to show properties. And okay, can I work out a bonus plan if I show that property and I write the offer and I win the offer and I go to closing with it? Will I get a referral fee? Will I get a? And so, the good old saying, they say, bring the coffee to all the big listers in your company and hang out with them, listen to them talk on the phone. I kind of leaned into that. I had some knowledge of that, not so much real estate, but I had heard, like, hang out with the people that you want to be like and that you're looking up to. And we don't have a
Absolutely. Yep.
huge office. We don't have a huge office. Everybody's awesome and really nice. And it's just a small family size, almost like, I'm sure there are some families that are bigger than us
Uh-huh.
at the Thanksgiving table, but we're about 30, give and take 30, 40 agents. Hopefully I get the number right. So, but yeah, I wouldn't say much more than 40 people there. And yeah, I leaned into it and I wanted to put some miles under my belt,
Absolutely. Get
put
some
some
experience.
mileage,
Yeah.
get some experience, get to know the different types of people, the different type of buyers, the different type of properties. I wanted to do all of this. And at this point in time, I think I've recentered a little bit what I like to do. There's the stuff that I don't like as much doing,
Hmm.
of course. I'll still do it because business is business, and you never know who's going to turn into your next biggest client ever and stuff like that. So I always welcome any business of any nature.
Yeah, it definitely helps being able to chase things that you're pretty interested in too. So I'm sure you get a pretty broad group of properties there, but I'm sure there's some that really hit home a little bit more for you there.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
your bio, you mentioned living in your dream stone farmhouse with your three daughters and many furry friends. How does the farm life craze influence your family values, and what lessons are you instilling in your daughters about hard work, respect for nature, and daring to dream?
I hope I answered the first question and it wasn't
Oh
too
yeah,
like too
absolutely. Yeah.
like you can edit that, right? I think family is first and in big golden letters on top of everything. My family is my biggest priority. I even to the point where I position myself like, behind that, the concept of family and taking care of my kids, spending time with my kids, helping them develop, witness the miracles of nature, whether it's like a baby bird getting out of an eggshell or going to pick some eggs in the coop or riding their horses here on the property, inviting their friends and neighbors, and just having a little. We get the quiet ponies. We don't get the crazy one. But being able to witness. I didn't really get being born in France and just kind of circling back real quick, but being born in France, it's like there is countryside, it's a beautiful country, but a lot of people like, proportionally a lot of more people live in the city and it's a smaller space, it's a smaller country. It's probably like the equivalent of two states here, or three states.
Yep.
And living here in the US, I've only, we live a busy life, but I've only seen so much. But I'm eager to like visit, to go north, to go west, to go to rent an RV some summer and
Yeah.
be gone for 2 months or more. And it's going to be tough to manage because we have the animals, so we're pretty grounded. But we're very lucky. The farm here sits on like 7 acres, and we have a big swampy area out back. Not always, and then there's a stream and so we have snapping turtles that come in the fall and in the spring. We've had like those recurring events. We have deers now out back. There's a young buck and a couple of does, and they run around sometimes around that. We have like an open field, and we have the horse fields. And yeah, it's just Matt is most days I'm gonna say a lot of days it's kind of like the grind. You get up, you do the same old stuff. You have some little ones too, you prep the meals and you try to feed everybody healthy food and this and that, yada yada, getting them to school. And then you get to work and then you pick them up. But if you take a minute and to some extent, I think anybody's could do that in their life is just to like look up and look around and witness the miracles, that are around.
Yes.
We're too busy to take the time, but
I can parallel that a little for sure because yeah, I live on some property that's pretty out in the countryside, and we have some chickens, and the neighbors have cows. We have a lot more cows as neighbors than people in the within a few miles of us here. Yeah, we certainly try to slow down and live that a little simpler life as well. So I understand that. that aspect of what you're doing there, and can appreciate that for sure. So, switching gears a little bit, you shared that your goal as a real estate agent is not just to help people, but to have clients who are extremely satisfied with how you guide them through their transactions. What was it about your own first home purchase experience that made such a lasting impression, and how does that inform your client-centric approach today?
My personal home purchase, you mean, right?
Yeah, your
When we
first home purchase. What lasting impression did that make on you?
Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, I'm thinking back a little bit here, but yeah, I think it was the guidance and the how the person was kind of like leveling with me to explain like the simple things that also today I incorporate in my guidance. And you know,
Absolutely.
it's
Yep.
being a real estate agent is a lot more. Sometimes we don't realize. So I don't know if you do real estate, or I'm sure you've been in contact with some real estate agents, and we all
Yes.
have, and everybody knows a real estate agent, or several, or multiple,
Uh-huh.
or many. And so, you know, you come to realize, well, all my spheres or circle of influence that, you know, a lot of these friends and family also know another agent, and he might be like even better. It's not about who's better, or it's about being able to level yourself with somebody, and whether they're first time home buyers or seasoned investors, and to be able to share that knowledge and share some specific things, whether it's like right now I have a couple of first time home buyers that are younger, like they're in these, and it's cool. It's I was gonna say it's cute in a way that they're cute. Like they have
Yeah.
simple, easy questions. If you talk to a seasoned investor, they want investment, return on investment, cap rate, NOI, all those
Yes.
big
Yep.
names, and they're a little bit harder to please, and they want the best deal, and they want to sell it for the max amount, and it's all about money. And when you see someone that's like first time home buyer and they just want to buy their first like little townhouse and stuff like that, it's like, so I feel like I should be able to like help these people just as much as, you know, help the investor trying to make the most amount of money. So
Yeah.
trying to
It's so,
level with everyone's goals and level with everyone's.
it's so important to be able to develop that trust, especially for first time home buyers. And I'm sure that's something that you really take a lot of pride in, is being someone that they can lean on and get them through that part of their journey. Cause it's one of the most important decisions that we'll make, the home we buy. It's such a big investment. So it's really nice to have someone in their corner that's, has that experience and can really get them through to that end goal of, that first home of theirs. So that's really crucial.
Yeah, and it's very stressful. Or sometimes leaving wherever you're going from A to B or A to Z. And so whether you're leaving your cocoon or it's a stressful situation, a separation, a divorce, your parents' house, downsizing, they're extremely emotional. People cry and they talk about their old farm. They can't work anymore, and they can't cut 10 acres of grass anymore and pick up those logs and this and that. And so it touches you to your core, because you're like, is this gonna be me? I mean, yeah, one day it's gonna be me. I won't be able to like pick up those.
Uh huh.
Yeah, I'm thinking about some like sad stuff. But anyways,
Yeah.
you know, there's real estate is usually a bit of a distress. There's a situation, and then you start to like, there's a point in time where you're like, okay, I need to move, right? I need to find a place. Okay. So, or I need to sell my place, or sometimes both at the same time, which is also very stressful. And so comes the guy, whether it's me, you, or somebody else, and he's a licensed real estate agent. And if you don't make that moment in time, listening time, and a compassionate time, and you don't take the time, you're just there for your check. Yeah, I don't know if you're gonna last very long, and maybe you will, but it's you're a companion, you're a project manager, you're a shoulder to cry on sometimes. You know, you're all these things. So
Yeah.
you just have to lean in a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I noted in your bio that you take great pride in being diligent, forthcoming, and reliable. In a complex competitive housing market, I'm sure that's really crucial because, there's a bunch of realtors in your market, I'm sure, and they can go right to to someone down the road. How do those qualities of being diligent, forthcoming, and reliable translate into tangible benefits for your clients? It's obviously can be a very stressful process, and you've touched on that a little bit. So could you expand on that a little bit more and just
Yeah, I can try. It's you're building a brand. whether you're aware of it or not. But I'm building my Emmanuel Huli brand under the umbrella of Turnkey. Turnkey has a lot of core values that are very important to them that I really abide to, which is being trustworthy, being honest, being open, being, about the way we do business and the people whom we are. And so it's very natural there that, I there's no tension there. And as for myself, it's strenuous, it's long, it takes a long time, but review after review and satisfied client after satisfied client, you know that these people will talk. You know that someday at a Thanksgiving dinner, someone will say, I'm looking for I love it here. I'm from Pittsburgh. I want to move down to Mechanicsburg. It's so much cheaper than in Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh's great, but I could buy double the house. Well, I know a guy. I know a guy. He
Yeah,
helped us, and that's how it happens. So I'm not like big on, you know, walk in the neighborhood or marketing. I do a lot of open houses. So I guess you were trying to maybe get a segue into like how do I get my leads? I do a lot of open houses because I'm pretty personable and I like to talk face to face to people. So I've met a lot of people through open houses. I work a lot with referrals or referrals, which like people, once I meet people and I help them, I usually get like, outstanding ratings. And this guy is awesome. He's nice and he listens to you and he helps you, reach your goals and not he's not trying to like input his own personal stuff in the
absolutely.
thing. So being able to listen to what people want and living and being like a on the side, just nudging just when needed.
It's so important that people note that you're genuine and you're genuinely trying to put them in a good situation and help them get the end result that works for them and put them in a good situation. So I'm sure that really helps your brand. Like you said, the best referrals word of mouth that says, "Hey, Emmanuel really helped me out. He was great to deal with. The process went really smoothly," and that really helps you move forward in your business there. So that's really
Yeah,
great.
I'm not big on like, the big marketing and the big flashy signs and the mailers and stuff like that because I find it and with all due respect to the people who do that and thank goodness because these people find business and they help people that would not have been reached out to. But I just focus on, being the best, very possible best with the people that I work with, and that's it takes time. It takes time. It takes a long time. It's a hard. It's kind of like the taking the back road, the whiny
Yeah.
road. But you get there. You also get to your destination the same way. You've just taken the back road, and it's a beautiful sight along the way. So
Yep. Yeah, and that's a great point. Everyone kind of has their lane, so to speak, and what works for one person might not work for the other person. And you've kind of found your little area there that's really working for you. So yeah, that's great. So as a realtor serving the Mechanicsburg area, what are some of the unique characteristics or trends that you're currently observing in that market? What makes it a special place for families or individuals looking for their dream home?
So we can get into the boring stuff, and I can lead into that as well. But so if you look at a map, and as if you were to look at a weather forecast, you would look, and over time you would see that we were very low pre-COVID in terms of price per square foot, and affordability was great. Don't ask the people that lived here because they're going to say, well, no, it was expensive back then. It's always expensive to an extent because people tend to buy the best house possible. So they always kind of like they always go to the higher end of the bracket of what they can afford. But if you look compare to other markets, either in Pennsylvania or elsewhere, like the adjacent states, we were super low. So when COVID happened, and all throughout, and still today, we see it is like Central PA is a very busy area where you can work from home. You can also get into an airport pretty quickly. You can get to Baltimore, you can get to Dallas, you can get to Philly fairly quickly. We're only 3 hours from New York City. If you really wanted to, we have friends that the husband works in New York City, goes there once in a while, takes the train. We'll go in there once a week, once a month or some. It's doable. And then the rest of the time you can work from home, work the crazy city hours in your basement, in your office. So the market is still it's being exploited. It's being looked at by, all the big developers. There's a lot of new builds, but we are still incorporating. There are still families that are coming from outside central Pennsylvania that are looking at Mechanicsburg and surroundings as a very good place to live, quiet enough, safe, green enough parks. But all the big names are also looking at us. Just recently, we opened a BJ just this year and a Costco, like in Mechanicsburg. So these two guys are these two names, and that's without counting like all the big brands that we didn't have here, and we only would get online. We'd go to a bigger city or whatever. All these big malls are developing, so the population is, you know, definitely growing, and but we're also still very inviting to some surrounding states or people that are looking at, Central PA like a very affordable, nice place to live, good schools, etc., etc.
Yeah, it's always seemed like a nice area to me. One of the things I miss about living in my rural community, like if you want to go out and have a nice dinner or something like that, you gotta travel a little bit. We got a ways to go. Me and my wife do to get to Pittsburgh or something if we really want to have a nice night out. But an area like that really has its advantages where you're close to that sort of stuff, but also can pretty close to being able to do outdoorsy stuff if you're into that sort of thing too. So it's always seemed like
Exactly.
a really nice area to me out there. So.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. It's residents can feel. I talk about it sometimes. Talk about it to my clients, friends, and family. But you can feel in the traffic. You can feel in the traffic
Hmm.
the amount of time that it used to take to go from A to B, and today, and how the strategies that people are using to just go A to C and then back to B because some getting some detours and some other because it gets really busy at certain times in certain areas, and we our streets and our drivers are not cut out
Uh huh.
for we're not, and it's not Philly or New York or whatever, but it's all proportional, right?
Yep.
It's all
Absolutely.
proportionate. Like if you have a one-way street and you have a blockage, it's traffic. To anyone is traffic. So yeah, I can feel like the we can see and we can feel that the population's rising, is developing for sure. It reminds me a little bit. So I lived in Easton maybe a decade ago when I first moved from France, and we could see the Lehigh Valley was just like blossoming. And if you look at the Lehigh Valley now, and also they had a lot of new builds back then. I wasn't even so much concerned about real estate then, but I just could witness that it was getting that the whole Bethlehem, Allentown, Easton, Quakertown, all those very green on the outside, on the outskirts, but like all that big city groupment was like becoming very, very, very big. It feels like a little bit like we are just living through that right now.
Uh huh. Yep.
Getting a little
Understandable.
bit like an upgrade in terms of I don't know if it's an upgrade, but definitely upping something.
Yeah, and I'm sure that makes an exciting market for you where you can really see some of that stuff taken off, and it makes you able to have some real positive impacts on people that are looking to move out into that area. And I'm sure that works out well for you.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
So in your bio, you emphasize that if you believe in your dreams, they're there for you to grab and make come true, and that too often we dare to dream because of the fear of self limitation. How do you encourage your clients who are often making one of the biggest decisions of their lives to overcome those fears and embrace their home ownership dreams?
I think knowledge is very important. I'm trying to educate whether it's a first-time home buyer or a seasoned investor that's unaware of certain things, certain regulation. Researching is very important. So I research a lot for my clients on their behalf and with them also. I make sure to, when I dive into like either a property or certain documents, regulations, rules. Try to be thorough and I think transparency is also a word that's really important. Trying to be transparent. If you don't know, you don't know. We're not doctors, we're not surgeons, we're not, and even then, they should be able to not know everything. That's a different ball game.
Uh
We're
huh.
not talking
Yeah.
about that today. But as a real estate agent, you're not supposed to know everything. And it's funny because the younger you are, the least experienced you are, and the more you think that you should know everything, and you try to make up for the lack of knowledge and experience by kind of like having some sort of an ego or something.
Uh huh.
I always remember one of my mentors, Edwin, would always say, like, when you start, you don't know that you don't know everything.
Yep.
And then you
Exactly.
slowly start to know that you don't know, and then you know, and then you don't know what you know really, and then at the end you reach a plateau where you should be, knowledgeable about what you know. So it's kind of Yeah, a thing that I keep in mind. I'm not sure where I'm at in that process. I know that I know some things. I know that I don't know some things. I think I'm honest enough with myself and my clients to you just have to be authentic. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
absolutely.
authenticity.
Yeah, having a good mentor is so critical to all of us, regardless of what we're chasing. So, you know, going back to like someone dreaming of home ownership a little bit, being able to reach out to you and you've gone through that experience, and especially for you having such a big move from France to make it over here, you have some different perspective on that, that sort of experience and that first home ownership here in America that you can give to them. And I'm sure that's crucial and really helps you build some trust with them.
Yeah, I'm just gonna bounce off of what you were saying there by and kind of like weave it with the previous question by saying like it really is totally different experience if you're with the right person. In my case, it was like I was with my wife and we weren't married then when we started. But being with the right person makes everything, any kind of like big step in life, you think you can overcome because you are kind of like on this little bit of a cloud of, untouchable. And you go through all these huge. And so it's the same. I feel the same relatively, of course, when I'm helping a client because I feel like I can be that person that stepping stone with some knowledge, some trust and authenticity that's saying like if I don't know, I don't know. I'll tell you I don't know and I'll look it up. I'd
Yeah,
rather
that's
tell you that.
that's so important to have someone that's willing to say, "Hey, I don't really understand this, and I know someone that can get us a better answer." To put
Yeah,
your ego in check a little bit to help the
yeah.
client in the best way possible
Yeah.
is very
Or
critical.
yeah, or not try to like, overstep some boundaries like in practicing law or some other things. So the same way, back then it didn't feel so crazy just moving from France to the States, and it felt like a big adventure, but it was like really wrapped in excitement, and so it's hard to, actually convey that feeling when you're buying a house because there's a lot of stress. But with a little bit, I think the real skill level is to make that process a little bit exciting.
Yeah, absolutely,
even though
absolutely.
even though it's even though it's really hard these days, right now the market is a little bit like all over the place. From 2020 to 23, 24, the interest rates to 23, the interest rates were low, a lot of competition. It was like the middle of the pack,
Uh huh.
elbow to elbow. Everybody was kind of like bumping into each other, 5, 10, 17, 25 offers. I've seen crazy numbers, crazy over ask. We got a lot of clients from buyers from outside of markets that were coming in, Pittsburgh, Philly, New York, and they were coming in and they were buying those like $500,000 houses that looked to them that it was kind of like easy,
Huh.
easy purchase because they were coming from markets where the price per square foot could be up to like 10 times.
Uh huh.
So when you have that kind of like perspective, yeah, it's you can go over ask, no problem. It's like so.
Yeah, absolutely. Influx of people from different markets that don't really understand the market as well as you do. You need someone in that market to really explain to you, hey, this is what you're looking at. This is what you could be getting into with a project like this. So yeah,
Some
that's an
perspective,
interesting
yeah, some
perspective.
perspective, yeah.
Yep.
Perspective is very, very important. Yeah. Very important because it's always hyper local and at a point in time. Anything could change. I mean, we saw it hopefully not as drastically as what happened in 2020, but anything could change very rapidly. Those politically speaking, everything is tied to what happens, whether politically inside the country or outside the country. People get tense, stock market drops, the Federal Reserve starts to stress out, and we
Yeah.
don't get the reductions that we got two reductions in a row, which were helpful. It boosts the morale, but maybe not as much as what was hoped for.
Yeah, there's a lot of things in that business that are outside of your control that you kind of got to just roll with and make do with the best as you can in certain situations for sure.
And to circle back, there's a lot of emotions too.
Absolutely. Yep.
So whether you're downsizing, selling your property, leaving your parents' nest alone on your own and, divorcing somebody or downsizing, upsizing, having a baby, that's stressful enough, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
having another baby, having a third baby, having twins, yeah, you name it. So everything is just like it's one of those like huge moments in life that you need some sort of kind of a little bit of a magic, a little bit of wizardism.
Yeah, maybe that's something that some of us don't really think about. You really got to be able to balance people's emotions at times in that business as well.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because ultimately these are people, and I also enjoy the commercial aspect of things because it's got some of its own challenges, and you're also working with people, but obviously the people are on a different distance, I would say, to the products that you're buying or selling.
Yeah,
But I
absolutely.
also enjoy doing the commercial things because I heard it from a friend, so I should quote him, but he said, you're selling real
Uh-huh.
estate, your real
Uh-huh.
stuff. It's the real stuff. It's real to people. It's real to people that are buying or selling. It's the real stuff. And I was like, yeah, I know it's called real estate. I was like, no, but it's real. It's
Yeah.
reality. It's a reality.
Tangible.
It's like concrete stuff, literally.
Absolutely. Yeah. Certainly understandable. Well, Emmanuel, this conversation's been incredibly insightful. Truly showcases your passion for people, your dedication to service, and your inspiring journey from Dijon to the farm life. Your North Fork experience is a powerful reminder of the impact one can have by living their values. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Before we wrap
Thank you.
up, for our listeners in the Mechanicsburg area or beyond who are looking to navigate the housing market or inspired by your story and want to reach out, what's the best way to reach out to you and connect?
Can I say phone number and all
Absolutely,
that
yeah.
fun
Whatever
stuff?
you
Yeah.
whatever you feel like would be the best.
Cool, cool. Well, my name is Emmanuel Huli. I work with Turnkey Realty Group. The office is in Camp Hill. And my phone number is 717-574-9842. The office number, if you needed to reach me through the office, it's easy to remember. It's 717-775-7000. And yeah, it's been a great pleasure talking with you.
Excellent. Yeah, I've really enjoyed talking to you too, and we'll make sure we include those in our notes so everyone can get a hold of you. So that's all for this episode of the North Fork Experience. A huge thank you again to our incredible guest, Emmanuel Huli. Thank you all for tuning in. Until next time, keep exploring, keep growing, and keep experiencing all that our communities have to offer. Thank you.
Thank you.